morning, fellow groomers. My name is Donna Anderson, and I'm the owner of Petite Pet Inn and Spa. And I guess you're watching this video because you'd like a few tips and tricks on how to deal with biters. That's my specialty. I actually do train them to accept grooming better. But if you have a biter, you'd like a few different techniques other than just slap a muzzle on them and get going. Dogs have a tendency to hate the muzzle. They don't enjoy the grooming process. Well, I find most dogs don't enjoy the grooming process. It's like going to the dentist. It's something you gotta tolerate. But you'd like them to tolerate it a little bit better. And I find the more free they are, the freer they feel, the better. So I like to tell people, my clients that get referred to me for dogs that bite or are nervous at the groomers, don't like their nails being trimmed, that sort of thing. I like to tell them, I says, you know, it's like if you got to go to the dentist. You hate dentists, but somebody ties your hands behind your back, drags you through the door, flops you down in the seat, and then ties you down. It doesn't matter how many times the dentist or your friend or whoever brought you there says, this won't hurt a bit. The fact that you're being forced and you're being tied down, you panic, okay? So the more, the word I'm trying to say is the more control that you have over the decision to either go or to get in the chair, the better you're gonna feel about it. So, and trust is earned, okay? You have to earn the trust. They don't give it to you free, so you need to earn it. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that help the dogs feel a little better about the whole process if you got to do a get her done, all right? So while I do training, groom training, I call them table manners. I do table manner sessions once a week with my clients that have biters or nervous dogs or have issues with just maybe nail trimming or working on the face. Sometimes I still get those get her done. The owner doesn't want to do the training. They don't care about the training. That's their prerogative. They just want the dog's nails done, or they just want the groom done. And the dog is kind of freaking out or just trying to bite you when you touch certain areas. So every dog's a little different. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of tips at you real quick so that, you know, you've got some options. Yeah. The first tip is you gotta have a groomer's helper. If you're dealing with difficult dogs, you have to have a groomer's helper, which is basically a special neck loop that has a lock on it. So I don't know if you can see that clearly, but there's actually a lock that you lock and it doesn't slip up and down, okay? It's there. These can be used incorrectly and it's dangerous for you and the dog. Used correctly, they have a wonderful video and they have YouTube stuff out there. But they come, when you buy a kit, it comes with it. So what makes this different is, not only does it have the locking mechanism, it also has a quick release here that goes around the neck, and it has this little loop at the very bottom. This loop at the very bottom is made to go with the other part of the groomer's helper, and this is the helper part. And what it has is it has a rounded cord with a snap on the end, and you get to tighten it and push this little lock in, and then it doesn't come out, okay? In fact, it just tightens more. This can go up and down, depending on where you want it, and actually putting it up higher or putting it down lower may help you. So here's how it goes. You got a biter. Maybe you can pick him up. Let's see, let me get a slip lead. Well, we'll pretend. All right, so let's say you got a dog. He's not aggressive to you unless you start doing stuff to him. You know, you can pick him up safely. You can get him on the table safely. Maybe he's head shy. So if you have a difficult dog, I'm gonna pretend he's okay. I put him on the table. As soon as I put him on the table, he goes, uh-oh, grooming's gonna happen. You may have an issue right away, maybe not. So when I put him on the table, I'm gonna hold him like this, take my lead, put it around from the back side, right? So I'm not coming at the front of his face with it, because that can be threatening to a lot of dogs. All right, now I can take this off his head because I've got this one on. Make sure that loop is under his chin. And you want to lock this down so there's no possible way. I usually put 2 fingers, or 2 or 3 fingers, and I go down as tight as I can. Okay, so now you've got him. It's not going to come off over his ears. That's what you want. You want to make sure that when he pulls back, I can even give him a little more space. You want to make sure that when he pulls back, it is not going to come over his ears. That is imperative, because if he can get his head out, you'll see why. He's going to pop himself backwards and fly off the table. All right, so now I've got him. Now, let's say he's a muzzle dog. Usually you got a muzzle when you put your hands close to his face. So what's nice about this, you might not be able to come at him from the front and grab that loop, right, to do this, because he might bite you. See how close my hands are? All right, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to loosen this up just a smidge. He's still okay. He's not trying to bite me yet because I'm not coming at his face, and I'm going to do this. Now my loop is right here at the top. I can loosen this up. Maybe I can still pull him forward. I can snap it, grab this. I'm keeping my fingers away from him. Now I've got him. I'm going to tighten this down. Don't forget that step. And now I've got him. All right? So I just stayed away from those jaws. I stayed away from his face as much as I could. There we go. Now we got him. I like to have him like sort of right under. I want to give him a little bit of leeway here. I try to give him a little bit here so that when I push him forward, he's not really feeling any tension. And if he starts to push back, he cannot pop out. Now, if this is too loose, this is what happens. He starts to pull back and he could pop right out. Well, actually it's not loose enough for a stuffed dog. So if you've got this locked and you've got him attached here, he has all the leverage in the world to pop out, and this is what happens. And I had that happen to one of my groomers before. Dog popped out, and he popped out with so much force he went backwards off the table. So you have to make sure when you, and the reason why that happened is because this prevented him from moving with it. You don't, if it's this loose, you know, it's loose enough, and the dog starts moving back, sometimes it tightens itself. But when you've got this attached, you better have this as snug as you need it to be, okay? Now, the other nice thing about a groomer's helper is if you don't have one, is the dog's not going to choke himself when he starts to struggle. Because what's the direction they're going to go in? They're going to go back. When they go back, look what happens. I don't know if you can see that, but it opens up right here. He can breathe, right? When you have one of these on him, let me just take this off real quick, and there's your quick release. See how quickly it came out? When you have one of these on him, and he's up here, and he pulls back, or he even falls off the table, now he's hanging, he's doing damage to his ribs, like this, right? Or he's doing like this, he's flailing around, and he has no leverage to get himself back on the table. Nothing to pull against. He's just hanging and flailing. So, and this is how he's going to choke himself and do damage to his windpipe. So, I do not like using these. I'm so happy with the Groomers Helper. This is not a paid advertisement. There you go. All right, we'll put you back together. Again, if you've got a dog who wants to bite you, move him forward. There you go, buddy. Hi, you look at that. And here you go. And I like to use my happy puppy voice, happy puppy sound when I talk to him. Okay, so we got him back. He can't get off. When he pulls back, he's going to give himself, see that? See how it gives himself some air? And it's not coming off, all right? And yet, when he's here, there's a little slack, right? And there's something here. So you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt at first. Now, this prevents him from turning around. Let's do it this way. So let's say he's here at the end of it. It prevents him from turning around and getting you from maybe mid-chest back, depending on the length of his nose. Now, I can't just groom him from the back, just the back end. The front's got to get done. So I have a couple of tools for that. Number one, in order to, I use this rubber spoon. I use a rubber spoon. I think it's metal in there, but I prefer the rubber spoon over metal or wood because if the dog bites it, he's not going to break his teeth on it, Okay, so it's a rubber spoon. And I might use that to try to determine if this is a dog I've never worked with before. I want to determine where the trigger points are. So I'm going to pat him with the back side of the spoon, right? And I want to see where his trigger points are. And he may be okay with that. If he is, then I'm going to try the back of my hand. Back of my hand is less threatening than the front. They know what this feels like. They know I can't grab them like this. Just trust me on that one. How do they know? I don't know. It feels different. It feels different. So you want to see where the dog's issues are. You could even go up between the head here. You can do this, right? You want to see where the dog's where his trigger points are. So we're going to pretend this dog's trigger points are anything from his front shoulders forward. But again, I have to groom the rest of the dog. What do I do? Well, that's when people put a muzzle on them. Well, when you put a muzzle on them, you're putting pressure on the top of their nose, and just like a gentle leader does, and the dogs don't like it. So you've just made his experience even worse by putting a muzzle on. So I'm going to try a few other tools. Now, if you notice over here, let me move you out of the way a minute. I have these donuts. I got them on Amazon. I'm not real happy about the fact that they're covered in a fluffy fabric. I would prefer like maybe a fire hose type fabric, but this company had all the sizes, and they were reasonably priced. They're filled with air, okay? This is Benchmate, Bencmate. I don't know, made in China. There's a bunch of different companies out there. And I started off using these before. I'll tell you about these lion cones in a minute. I started off using these. This particular dog's going to need this one. And the veterinarians now use them instead of those hard cones, right? Those veterinary cones. Now, what this helps is the dog that's sort of kind of wants to snap at you, but he's not real positive about doing it. He's a little bit more manageable. This might be all you need, especially to work on those front feet here, right? That might be all you need, because what that prevents him from doing is getting his mouth to your hand, okay? So you can do more. You can do from probably his shoulders down to front legs and the back. So it helps you get the front legs. And he doesn't have anything on his nose, putting any stress on him that way. This is soft. They can see, they can move their head around. They just can't quite get to you. But it's wide, and now I can't get to his neck, right? I can't get to his neck. So that's one tool I use. I probably will start with this one. Sometimes the dogs are like, oh, you're not going to put a muzzle on me, and they calm down a little bit. Again, it's all about expectations. You expect to go into a restaurant and get a bad meal. It doesn't matter how good they do that day, you're going to go in the restaurant and get a bad meal. So let's not, let me just tell you real quick. Sorry, this is all disjointed. I'm not good at this. So when I put this on, I'm going to put it on from behind. He doesn't know what it is. He's never seen it. I could let him sniff it for a second. I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to put it on in a fashion where the gentle leader is actually, not the gentle leader, sorry, the Groomers Helper is actually in front of and on top of, okay, in front and on top of the cushion. So that might get you somewhere, but you can do it a little differently, okay? There might be a reason, because of the way he's struggling or whatever, where you want it on top of this, so it's keeping his head up more, right? And behind this. Or you may want to do the opposite, which would be under here, but on top of here. I find that some dogs would grab their front feet and try to push it off. So in a case like that, you really want it behind here, because then they can't push it off, right? Or you can just go ahead and get it on top of and in front of. And I've used it a bunch of different ways, and it depends on how the dog is fighting you and what they're doing. This way, however, they can pull it right over their head, okay? So I generally start off with doing it this way. But again, this Groomers Helper is in front of it, so it prevents me from really getting up higher on the neck. So, you try the best you can. All right, so that's that. It comes in all these sizes. I use this one and this one the most. Sometimes I get bigger dogs. Because it's petite pet in, we're usually dealing with small dogs. So let me get those out. Oh no, I'm gonna keep this one for a second. All right, now the next thing that we have is these soft, I used to use the veterinary hard plastic cones, but the dogs hit this, it scares them. It's making noise on the leads, scares them. I found these online. Aren't they just the cutest thing? It's actually, it looks like a lion. And I'm gonna tell you, there are other, let me just put this on real quick so you can see how it looks. Isn't that the cutest thing? They look like little lions. I used to groom when customers used to be able to come in the building. I wanted to put something on the dogs that, muzzle looks threatening and the veterinary cones look so sterile and stiff and the dogs hate them because they make noises. And I used to groom where customers could come in the front lobby and kind of see what's going on. So when I fell in love with using a veterinary cone and I saw these, I thought, oh my gosh, this looks adorable. People are gonna come in and instead of seeing this ugly muzzle or this ugly plastic cone, they're gonna see this really cute thing. The dog's got ears, he's got a little thing here. And believe it or not, the ears come in handy and this comes in handy. So it isn't just the fact that it's a cone. I actually use the ears and I use the main part as well. So anyway, and you can do it this way. So if you want to get close to you flop it back, you can do more up here. Depending again on the dog. Some dogs are just so bitey, you do the best you can. All right, so I use this. I'm going to show you the different ways I use this. Again, let's put you back up. I will unhook them here in a minute, so the dogs hate the sound of Velcro. A lot of dogs are just scared of the sound. So it's helpful to go ahead and let us do it behind his back, so he's not seeing what it is. You might want to let him sniff it a little bit, pet him with it, and then you're going to do the same thing. I'm actually from behind, put it down on the floor. Hopefully, if you feel like he's going to reach down and bite at it, snug this up first so that he can't get down there. So you're going to get down here and come up underneath and put it on like it's a cape. That's the first thing you do. You're gonna let it go down a little bit here. Now you have two ways to put this on. Again, just like with the donut, you can put it on behind and under, or you can put it on, if he lets you, try to stay away from his face, in front of. So you see the difference about how much room I have more up here? Now, I bet you guys can tell he can't bite me. Even if I don't have this hooked, he can't bite me. So when he tries to turn around to bite me, this is what happens. As long as his nose doesn't go beyond, okay, so you see that? As long as his nose doesn't go beyond here, it's pretty hard to get me. Now, I have had one dog actually grab the cone and in his mouth like this, but again, it's so padded, I was easily able to take my hand away before anything bad happened. So, but anyway, this is my favorite tool for the nervous dogs. Now, once it's on, and you can let them, let me see, I'm gonna take this off real quick and put it back behind here. Let's hook you back up, buddy. Sweet. Okay. So you can let him hang out on the table while you do some other things with this on. He can't bite you still. So even if he bends this way and your hand is up under here, he can't get you. So you can let him live with this for a few minutes while you work on the back end or whatever. And then when you're ready to get closer, or you gotta do his back, he goes forward. Now I've got his ears down underneath. They're not on top of his head. And I use it like that more than any other way, because I can take this ear, let's see. Now one thing you're gonna notice is this is in the way. So this is where you can get it up a little higher, all right? So he can still, you still got him, but it's not in the way of flopping this cone down, okay? So where this is important, is as important as the other tools you're using, all right? So there he is. okay? So now I can do some shaving. I can push this up a little higher and do stuff right almost up to the back of his ears, okay? And he can't bite me. And there's no ugly muzzle, and it's kind of cute. All right. Now let's say I want to do a little bit of stuff on the top of his head. I can actually use this cone to hold my dog's head for me. But in order to do that, I really need to have this on top. So I'm keeping away from his face, pushing forward if you have to. And I'm going to get this below. I want just this. It is adjustable to some degree. It's got 2 layers of Velcro. I haven't had it pop off yet. I'm going to unhook him. Now I can unhook him without worry of getting bit because of how I put it on, okay? So now I've got him. So I'm going to come around. Let me come around over here so you can see what I'm doing. So now I've got the ears. I can take the ears. The ears give me just another inch or so away from his teeth. And I can take the ears, close them, and hold the ears. And I can hold the ears over his muzzle. So now we've got this all tight, and I can do, you know, maybe look in his ears or whatever. I wouldn't ear pluck a dog that's a biter. That's something the vet needs to do. Only because it's painful. And why would I want to cause the dog pain? Because I have to see this dog, especially if it's a haircut dog. I have to see this dog every, 6 to 8 weeks. So if I have a dog who's really objecting to something like ear cleaning, anal expression, or even nail clipping, I might tell, if I'm not going to train him, if I'm doing a get or done, I might tell the owner that's something she needs to make an appointment with the vet so he can do that maybe, every 2 months, express, do nails, and clean the dog's ears. I don't want to be the one causing pain because I'm the one that has to see the dog regularly, more regularly than a vet would need to do. So I need to be able to have the dog trust me. So if it's something that's going to cause pain, I would suggest you try that method. Right now I only have 1 dog. If they're really bad about nails, I do push getting training, which is another video. But if I have 1 dog that I will refuse, the owner won't do the training, the nail training with me. And so I've told her, I says, I have to be the good guy. I cannot cause this dog any pain. And he really feels like if I do his nails, it's going to cause pain. It's better to go to the vet, let him give a little sedation and get the nails done and check out whatever. So that's what she does at this point, because she does not want me to do any of the training that I do. She just wants to get her. She doesn't mind about the money and that sort of thing. So one of these days, though, she'll be back because at some point the dogs become so old or have heart conditions they can't take sedation anymore. So anyway, I hope this is, you can see me. So anyway, here it is like this. And you can even do, hold on to the thing. And I've used clips and clipped it just so he doesn't see. Right? You don't want them to, sometimes when they can't see, they're a little bit better, and so forth. Now, that doesn't allow me, if I have a Shih Tzu or something, I don't know what it is about Shih Tzus, but they really hate having you do stuff to their face, so around their eyes. I don't blame them, they got buggy eyes. All right, so let's say I got to do something around the dog's face. I'm going to show you my other tip for that. So we're going to go back to, there you can see the 2 Velcro strips. It would be nice if it was maybe this way or this side was, I don't know, a little bit more Velcro would be nice because otherwise it really just fits like whatever that hole size is. All right, so we're going to go back to this and I'm going to get I cannot say enough how much I love my mini Arcos. My mini Arco, and it's a gold clipper. It's by Wahl. I don't know what it is about the blade that they have on here, but it is so safe. I can put it on my face like this and push down and it doesn't cut. So I feel very safe using it around their eyes and on the bottoms of their feet, especially with dogs like this. Stuffed dog. Okay. Here we go. So we put this on. If I have a dog with hair, this is what I do. I'm able to hold the bottom. Now, you know, I'm able to hold the bottom. You might even be able to hand scissor, you know, a little bit. Maybe that's okay, because maybe they don't like this buzzy thing on top of their head. So I have a bunch of dogs that I can easily get to their face safely. They can't bite me. They know they can't bite me now because they've come enough. And I feel a little safer about doing this, maybe looking in their ears, that sort of thing. But sometimes you still can't. So we would do, I'm going to turn that off just so I don't cut my dog. But anyway, so you can kind of go like this, get all that out. But I have a couple of dogs that won't let me do anything close to their mouth. They're constantly trying to bite the scissors. So what I do for them, I'm just going to move this a little because I'm not so sure that you can see me good. All right. So what I do for them is I put on this cone. I might use the bigger one, or this is usually the one that works. And I take my little safe clippers, which hopefully I've never cut a tongue yet, but that doesn't mean I won't. And you gotta imagine the hair coming down. They got a Shih Tzu face, hair, and I gotta try to get all that crappy stuff away from their mouth. I take my little clippers and I cut against I start out here where I'm not cutting anything, and then I work up to where I'm cutting. Now I'm cutting. So I'm cutting the hair against the donut, and whatever the shape turns out to be, as far as what their face is going to look like, that's what it is. So I can sometimes even go in real quick, and I'll get a little distracted, you know, woo, blow in their face, get a quick, you know, knock something off real quick, right? Oh, I did cut my dog. Ah! Yeah. But I can actually get pretty close, almost like with a 7. There's one dog I have to be careful, but you know, you can wait. You have a split second after a dog snaps at you and they're drawing back to get another snap in. You have that split second where they've closed their mouth and they're getting ready to do it again. You have that split second. So if you get your timing down and you're trying to knock off something, you wait for the dog to snap and then you go in immediately and get the little bit, right? So he moves and then he's got to get ready again to do it again. So when he moves, you get him. You get the hair, right? And again, on these really aggressive dogs, I don't like plucking the ear hair unless it's an emergency. Because again, you cause pain and you lose trust. So every time you cause a dog pain, you lose trust. Let me see, have I gone over everything? I think so. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll try to answer them as best I can. But my suggestion is for all you groomers out there of dogs that you have to put a muzzle on, maybe you can throw your muzzles away or put them in a drawer if you have some of these items. You know, get your donuts, get your lion cones or any other fabric cone. I only have these 2 sizes. That's what I bought, and now I realize I could probably use more, but for the bigger dogs. But in any case, it looks cuter, especially if you have to work in front of a window. You're working safer. You can be more relaxed. If you feel like the dog is going to bite you, you have a tendency to be tense, and you're not moving with relaxed motions. So you don't want to come at a dog, you know, like this. You want to be confident enough to go, yeah, I can get him. He can't bite me. You know, I know he can't bite me. And that you move with more confidence and you're more sure of yourself, and the dog can easily trust you. Who wants to go to a dentist who's acting like he doesn't know what he's doing, or who's tense? Maybe he's had a bad day, whatever. I also like to talk to the dogs. I know a lot of my groomers that I hire here, they have a tendency to work silently, or they have their headphones in and listening to music. That's okay as long as you're still talking to the dog, okay, whether you can hear yourself or not. I'm like, hey, good boy, yeah, thank you very much. That was very good. Hooray! I love to use the word hooray. Hooray! If I hurt him, I say, uh-oh, did I do that? Old TV show. Did I do that? hooray, that was good. You know, if an accident happens or something bad happens, the worst thing you can do is go, oh my gosh, oh, because now the dog's emotional state is now going to change because your voice tone changed. Go, uh-oh, look what I did. I just nicked your bed, or, you know, whatever, no big deal, hooray, that was good, let's do it again. We don't really want to do it again, but but talk to them, because I can't stress enough, the tone of your voice is what they're listening to. They don't know exactly what you're saying. It's the tone. Recite the Gettysburg Address. It doesn't matter. Talk to your dog so the dog knows, hey, she's still in a good mood. She's acting confident. Maybe I can relax just a little bit more, as opposed to somebody who's talking in hushed whispers, like there's something suspicious going on, you know. And when I touch them, I like to touch them. Yeah, unless I know they've got an issue, you know, broken rib or something. They shouldn't be in here. But, you know, touch them with confidence, and as if they were your dog and you trusted them to the nth degree. That's the way you want to touch a dog. Always touch a dog like that. If you touch him like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid he's going to bite me, you're going to get bit because you're making the dog nervous and you don't realize it. You also want to make sure when you're working with the elderly dogs, and hey, even a 4-year-old dog can have arthritis. You always want to move the dog's joints in the same plane as their body, and feel them. When you start to feel resistance, kind of stop at that point and see if you can't. In my case, what I'll do if I was picking up this dog's foot and see it's all stiff because there's a big wire in there. It was real stiff. I might sit there and just sort of play with them and maybe move it around back and forth, you know, see if I can get him to relax a little bit before I pick it all the way up. And I'm going to just pick it up to his body like this. Now the dogs with the back legs, they can lift them up like they're going to urinate on a post. You can pick them up that outside the body frame that way. But you can't do that really with the front legs. What dog is going to walk around and stick his leg out like that? Front legs go forwards and they go backwards, okay? They don't go out to the side like that unless he's just splayed flat on the floor. So worry about that, you know? Worry about all of those things. A lot of dogs, I've got one dog that just started coming to me. She tucks her tail really tight, and when I try to force her tail up, it hurts. She's got arthritis in almost every joint in her body. I mean, you can feel it creaking. It's so gross. Ugh. But the dog's not gross. The creaking is like, okay. So, but if I, you know, scratch her, belly rub, you know, hello, how you doing? Hooray, you know, whatever, her tail will start to come up. And once it's up, that's where I'll trap it up there. I may not be able to crank it up any higher. It just depends. So if I can get her to relax enough with me and work on some other things, talk to her gently, give her some little itchy scratches. You know, this dog loves to be, that particular dog loves to be cuddled and maybe picked up. As soon as I start to pick her up, she goes, oh, you're going to save me. And her tail will come up and then I'll just trap it up. So, and then I leave it where she put it and try to work the best I can under here. I'm not going to do what I usually do, which is grab the base of the tail as well as part of the body and hold it up, okay, and work. So you got to remember the tail is part of the spine. If they got arthritis in the spine, they got arthritis in the tail. And if they pick it up, they're going to pick it up to where it's comfortable for them. But if you force it up, you don't know where to stop and where to, you know, you just don't know. And the dogs, and usually you're hurting the muscles at that point because you're forcing the muscles into a position the dog doesn't want you to. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and do a little trimming here and there because I'm not sure if I made any sense in some parts. I might have to redo it. But those are my big tips. Rubber spoon. The right kind of clipper that you can trust is not gonna nick a dog easily. And again, Mini Arco by Wahl is my favorite, and these line cones. So there you go. Oh, and not to forget about the Groomers Helper, big part. No Groomers Helper. It's worth the money. It's worth the money. And one thing, P.S., one thing about the Groomers Helper that makes this all worthwhile is if you have it on correctly and you have to turn your back on the dog for a split second and the dog happens to step off the table, let me give it a little bit more room. The dog happens to step off the table, because this is attached in the front, they now have a leverage. They'll pull their head back. Now it's not going to go anywhere, right? Because this part is attached. They can pull their head back and climb back up on the table. If you don't have this attached, they're going to hang because they have nothing. They see what happens when I pull the head back, because that's what they'll do. They'll pull their head back trying to get leverage to get up on the table, and this is what happens. All they're going to do is flail around, right? Nobody wants that. So hooked up, dog pulls back, you see? Now it's firm. They can get up on the table. So no more hung dogs. Thank you very much for watching. Likes and comments down below, especially comments, questions. I'll answer them. Give me some words. Thank you.